Harper Perennial and HarperAudio present The Berlin Wall, A World Divided, 1961 to 1989, by Frederick Taylor. Read by Peter Noble. Through deceit, bribery, and blackmail, West German government bodies and military interests induce certain unstable elements in the German Democratic Republic to leave for West Germany. The Warsaw Pact member states must take necessary steps to guarantee their security, and primarily the security of the GDR. Declaration of the Warsaw Pact, issued 1:11 a.m., Sunday the 13th of August, 1961, as the first barbed wire was being dragged into place along the border between East and West Berlin. All autumn, the chafe and jar of nuclear war, we have talked our extinction to death. Robert Lowell, Fall, 1961. The frequent result, said Austerlitz, of resorting to measures of fortification, marked, in general, by a tendency towards paranoid elaboration, was that you drew attention to your weakest point. W. G. Sebald, Austerlitz. So, they built the wall to stop people leaving, and now they're tearing it down to stop people leaving. There's logic for you. Unnamed drinker in East Berlin bar, just after the fall of the Berlin Wall, November 1989. Foreword. The barbed wire beginnings of the Berlin Wall, on the 13th of August 1961, divided, overnight, and with savage finality, families, friends, and neighborhoods, in what had, until 1945, been the thriving, populous capital of Germany. Streets, subway lines, rail links, even apartment houses, sewers, and phone lines were cut and blocked. The wall represented a uniquely squalid, violent, and, as we now know, ultimately futile episode in the post-war world. The subsequent international crisis over Berlin, which was especially intense during the summer and autumn of '61, threatened the world with the risk of a military conflict, one that seemed as if it could escalate at any time to a terrifying nuclear confrontation between the US and the Soviet Union. How did it come to this? In 1945, the victors of World War II, the USA, the Soviet Union, Britain, and, by special dispensation, the French, had divided Germany into 4 zones of occupation, and its capital, Berlin, into 4 sectors. Germany had been a problem ever since its unification in 1871, a big, restless country in the heart of Europe. The overmighty Germany of the Kaisers and Hitler's time must, the wartime allies agreed, never be allowed to re-emerge, with somewhere between 30 and 50 million dead in the bloodbath that Nazi Germany had inflicted on the world. It was hardly surprising that many in Europe and America went even further, and demanded that it be kept disunited. After the defeat of Nazi Germany, even as its surviving people strove desperately to feed and house themselves and to recreate some kind of viable economic existence, came the Cold War. From the late 1940s, Germany itself, what was left of it, after the Poles and the Russians had carved chunks off its eastern territories, became a mutant creature of the new communist-capitalist conflict. It divided into West Germany, the Federal Republic of Germany, a parliamentary democracy of some 50 million, anchored into the Western NATO alliance, and the much smaller East Germany, the German Democratic Republic, a more or less willing member of the Communist Warsaw Pact. By contrast with the increasingly prosperous West Germany, the GDR remained a struggling social experiment, a mere third as large. From the early 1950s, the Iron Curtain ran through the middle of the former Reich, manifesting itself in a fortified border between the 2 Cold War German states. Until 1961, however,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?